We're in the early 1930 seconds. America is in crisis. Factories are closing. Banks are going under. Entire families are losing their savings overnight. In the middle of this chaos, one man is about to become a kind of crime star. For some, he's a modern Robin Hood. For the FBI, he's public enemy number one. His name, John Dillinger. Today, we're going inside his head. Not to glorify him, but to understand how a kid from Indiana became the most famous bank robber in the United States, and how he ended up full of bullets in front of a movie theater in Chicago. Welcome to Profession Robber. Here, we don't teach you how to rob a bank. We analyze the people who actually did it. We look at their background, their mindset, their mistakes, and most importantly, how their stories ended. The goal is simple. Understand the profile of bank robbers. Kill the movie fantasy. And show the reality. Prison, life on the run, paranoia, death. Everything I say in this video is based on real sources. FBI files, Wikipedia and Encyclopedia Britannica pages, and historical articles about the life of John Dillinger. This video is informational and documentary. Nothing here is an encouragement. Nothing here is a tutorial. Nothing here glorifies crime. In this episode, we're going to break down the case of John Dillinger. How a kid from Indianapolis, born in 1903, is less than #0, 5 hashes greater than, became the symbol of the American bank robber. How his gang robbed more than a dozen banks in less than 2 years, right in the middle of the Great Depression. How he pulled off several prison breaks, including one that humiliated a prison that was supposed to be escape-proof. And why, on July 22nd, 1934, he was gunned down by the FBI outside a movie theater in Chicago after being officially labeled public enemy number one. But above all, what was his profile? What was going on in his head? We're going to look at it, step by step. Before we talk about robberies, we need to set the scene. John Herbert Dillinger was born on June 22, 1903, in Indianapolis, Indiana, in the United States. His mother died when he was 3 years old. His father, a grocer, remarried later. The relationship with his stepmother went badly. A troubled childhood. Authority that was sometimes very strict, sometimes inconsistent. A kid who quickly felt out of place. As a teenager, Dillinger dropped out of school. He hung out in the streets. He got into fights. He committed minor crimes. His father thought the city was destroying him. He moved the family to the countryside, to Mooresville, to try to get him back on track. But changing the scenery isn't enough to change a personality. Dillinger worked for a while in a workshop as a laborer. He was bored. He felt trapped in a life he didn't want. In 1924, at just over 20 years old, he committed his first big crime. With an accomplice, he tried to rob a local merchant with a weapon in his hand. The plan failed. He was arrested. The court sentenced him to a heavy term, several years in prison. For many people, this is where everything really starts. Most bank robbers are not born robbers. They are forged in prison. And that's exactly what is going to happen to Dillinger. In prison, Dillinger is not surrounded by petty thieves. He is around much more experienced criminals, seasoned bank robbers. He builds a network. He learns. He listens. Prison becomes his professional training as a bank robber. He goes in as a clumsy, petty offender. He comes out as a future gang leader. During those years behind bars, he hears about real robbery techniques, about scouting banks, about police response times, about getaway plans. When he is released, in the early 1930 seconds, the United States is in the middle of the Great Depression. Millions of people are unemployed. People stand in line for soup kitchens. Many blame the banks for destroying everything. It's in this context that Dillinger regains his freedom in 1933. He doesn't look for a normal job. He puts into practice what he learned in prison. Between June 1933 and July 1934, his gang robs more than a dozen banks. For example, the First National Bank in East Chicago in January 1934, or the Merchants National Bank in South Bend, Indiana. The exact amounts vary depending on the source, but in total, we're talking about several $100,000 of that time. His playground, the American Midwest, Indiana, Ohio, Wisconsin, and other neighboring states. The methods used by Dillinger and his gang are fast and violent. They enter armed. They control the lobby. They force employees to open the safes. They sometimes use hostages as human shields during their escape by car. At some robberies, they show up dressed as police officers to gain a few seconds of surprise. They also raid police armories to steal weapons. They take part in several prison breaks, during which guards are killed. According to FBI figures, between September 1933 and July 1934, the Dillinger gang killed several people and wounded others. In the press, his name is everywhere. Some newspapers describe him as a gentleman bandit, but in reality, his actions cost lives. He is not a hero. He is a professional, armed, and dangerous criminal. Now that we've laid out the facts, we're going to do what we do on this channel. Profile, profession, robber, John Dillinger. We can sum up what stands out from his life, his choices, and his way of acting in three main points. First point, his relationship with authority and the system. Dillinger grows up with a strict father figure, a home marked by the death of his mother, a chaotic teenage period. His first major crime in 1924, and the heavy sentence that followed, may have fed a strong resentment against the justice system. When you get out of prison after many years, in a country in crisis, with no real prospects, surrounded by former cellmates who live off crime, it's easy to slide into one idea. The system has already condemned me, so I might as well go all the way. We don't know exactly what he thought, but his actions suggest a constant urge to challenge authority. Second point, the search for control and adrenaline. The Dillinger gang's robberies are not discreet. They are spectacular operations. Fast entry, tense atmosphere, hostages sometimes used as protection, getaways in powerful cars, crossing several states. This kind of action requires a high tolerance for risk. an ability to stay calm under pressure. Everything suggests there is also a strong search for adrenaline. We're no longer talking about small, desperate thefts. We're talking about someone who makes crime his main activity, his job. For many robbers at this level, that adrenaline rush becomes almost like a drug. You plan a job, you pull it off. You escape the police is less than #0. 5 is greater than. You see your face in the newspapers. At that point, it's not just the money feeding the ego. It's the feeling that you're on top of the game. Third point, public image and ego. Over time, Dillinger becomes a media figure. Newspapers talk about him constantly. They describe his escapes. They detail his robberies. They publish his photos. Part of the public sees him as a romantic character. Some people fantasize about him as a Robin Hood-type figure, even though there is nothing proving he shared his money with the poor. When you become that kind of symbol, your ego can explode. The more he slips through the FBI's fingers, the more he reinforces the image of, I'm smarter than them. This mix of ego, adrenaline, and hatred of the system is something we often see in high-level criminals. Now let's talk about what really made Dillinger legendary. His escapes. In 1933, he is arrested for the first time and held in a prison in Ohio. His accomplices organize an armed breakout to free him. The authorities are humiliated. Later, in January 1934, Dillinger is arrested in Tucson, Arizona, after a fire in a hotel draws the attention of the police. He is sent to Crown Point Jail in Indiana for a trial linked to the killing of a police officer during a robbery. Crown Point is presented as escape-proof, impossible to break out. But on March 3rd, 1934, Dillinger escapes anyway. He threatens guards with what, according to legend, was a wooden gun painted black. The different sources don't all agree. Some say it was a real gun. Others say it was fake. What we know for sure is that he gets away. He steals the sheriff's car. He crosses a state line. From that moment on, he becomes a federal criminal. His file lands on the FBI's desk. From there, he's no longer just a local bank robber. He becomes a national priority. The FBI director at the time, J. Edgar Hoover, wants to prove the efficiency of his agency. Criminals like Dillinger, Bonnie and Clyde, and Babyface Nelson represent a new kind of organized, media-driven banditry. In 1934, Dillinger is officially named Public Enemy Number 1. He is now the man to take down. After his escape from Crown Point, Dillinger tries to disappear. He has his face altered with plastic surgery. He changes certain details of his appearance. He uses new names. He hides out in different safe houses with the help of accomplices. But living permanently on the run has a cost. You never stay long in one place. You can't live openly. You have to be suspicious of everyone. On July 22nd, 1934, in Chicago, Dillinger goes to the Biograph Theater, a movie theater in the city. He goes there with two women, including Anna Sage, who is working with the FBI to set him up. As the screening ends, FBI agents are waiting outside. They spot him. They chase him into the street. They open fire. John Dillinger is gunned down in front of the theater. At the age of 31, witnesses rush over. Some dip their handkerchiefs in his blood, as if they were collecting a relic. That shows just how far his image as a famous outlaw had gone. For some, he had become an icon. For others, a symbol that had to be destroyed. For the FBI, the mission is complete. Public enemy number one is dead. For us, here on Profession Robber, it proves one thing. When you make robbery your job, you sign a very short-term contract, and almost never on your own terms. Let's summarize John Dillinger's profile in a few key points. 1. Unstable childhood and a complicated relationship with authority. Death of his mother. Strict father. Troubled teenage years. A heavy first sentence. A possible feeling of injustice and a break with the system. 2. Training in prison. He learns from professional bank robbers. He builds a network. He comes out with the mindset of a structured criminal, not just a small-time thug. 3. An economic context that feeds the myth. The Great Depression. Hatred of the banks. A part of the public that sees bank robbers as anti-heroes. 4. Professional criminal activity. Repeated robberies. Increasingly organized operations. Use of fast cars. Raids on police armories. Multiple escapes. 5. Escalation with the federal government. Stealing the sheriff's car. Crossing state lines. Being declared public enemy number one. A nationwide manhunt. Violent death at 31. When you put all of that together, you see that profession robber is not a career plan. It's a straight line to prison, to endless life on the run, or to the grave. If you're still here, it means this kind of analysis interests you. On Profession Robber, we're going to keep breaking down profiles like John Dillinger's, bank robbers, armored truck robbers, high-level thieves, always with the same logic. Understand the mind, not romanticize the crime. In the next videos, we'll talk, for example, about Bonnie and Clyde, the legendary criminal couple, or about Babyface Nelson, even more violent than Dillinger. If you want to follow this series and discover more robber profiles, subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications and tell me in the comments which robber you want us to analyze next. This was Profession Robber. See you soon for the next case.